Yo. We're here. Like, subscribe, and enjoy the show.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yo. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. This is the Phlite Zone. This is Jimmy. That's Evan. And we are here. We're going to be doing a live analysis of the Sixers and Jazz tonight. Right now it is 40-33. Sixers are currently ahead in Utah. Ben Simmons is having himself a night. He just scored the first 8 points of the game for them. And as we speak right now, Ben is just dancing and no-look passes. And Tobias lays it in. It's been a great start for Ben Simmons tonight. It's been a great start for the Sixers without Joel Embiid. I thought for sure that Joe was going to play tonight against Rudy Gobert. I thought for sure it was going to be a Simmons and Joe versus Gobert and Mitchell. Apparently that's not the case. That's not going to be happening tonight. Joe needs his load management, and I am concerned about that. I am concerned about how Joe doesn't come for it's not even his choice. It's the Sixers doctor's choices where he can't play every game in the regular season, and that'll be for however long we have Joel Embiid. Hopefully he's a Sixer for life, but that's just how it's going to be. He's never going to be able to play all 82 games. I understand that, but I would love for him to play the big games like this one. This game, in my opinion, is a huge game where if they win this game, it's really big on the psyche to go from a 2-2 on the West Coast trip as opposed to a 1-3. 2-2, it's like, okay, we did this without going down in the hole. If you go 1-3, then that's going to leave some doubt in your mind, whether it's the regular season or not. I know I always say that the regular season doesn't really matter. It's just one big preseason. It's one big playing pool. As long as you get the top 2 seeds, you're fine. But a game like this, I'm a little greedy. I'm a little cocky. I'm a little two-faced on this one. I know. I always say the regular season doesn't matter, but I
was about to let you know. Jimmy.
I wanted to see Joe play tonight. I know he wants to play tonight, but that just is what it is. Yep. We have a fun show for you guys tonight. We are going to play a little game called Would You Rather, and it's going to be a bunch of just tough questions, in my opinion, of would you have rather done this or would you have rather done that? Philly Sports Edition. Let's go right to the poll question. How you doing today, Evan?
Doing good, man. Ben Simmons is going off. He has, I think, about how many points? Maybe 20 right now. He's going off at the end of the first quarter. Sixers looking real good, but it's been a common occurrence to blow leads in Philly sports. I think Ben Simmons, yes, he's having a great game right now, but he's got to continue that to the end of the fourth quarter because last game he did.
Oh, you're jumping right into last game already.
Last game the bench didn't. Nobody did. To be fair, nobody did, but especially Ben Simmons, who referred to himself as the best defender in the NBA, and then he got pooped on, bro. He got pooped on by Devin Booker.
He wasn't guarding Devin Booker.
It's the guy he told you not to worry about. That's who it was.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk about that later on in the show. Let's get right into the poll question for the day. And that poll question is very, very big, tough one. It's an Eagles one. So we're going to be jumping back and forth from Eagles to Sixers. Just start off with Sixers just because that's who's playing right now. So here's the poll question. I would take 10 years of elite Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform and not have the Eagles Super Bowl 52 victory. Now, a lot of people that agree with this, you got to question whether they're an Eagles fan first. And I'm going to be completely fair with that. You should question if they're Eagles fans first. But I would totally take 10 years of elite Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform rather than the Super Bowl 52 victory. Because if you have guaranteed at least 10 years of elite Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform, the odds of you winning at least one of them after the 2017 season, it's very high. because the level that he was playing at in 2017 was like no other. He was a step below Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes. And we all saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes when he doesn't have his offensive line and his playmakers don't make plays.
Yep.
BS happens. He looked like Carson Wentz, and we said that last podcast. It looked like we were watching an Eagles game.
Yep.
I will jump into my reasoning as we continue on with the show, as we continue on with Eagles talk. I will bash Howie Roseman, as I always do. I will bash Jeffrey Lurie, because Jeffrey Lurie is slowly turning into Jerry Jones, and it's sad. It's very sad. I will continue to bash the local media. I will continue to bash the national media, and I will continue to bash some of the players, some of the more important players on the Philadelphia roster for causing this QB controversy in the first place. It's a combination of all that has us in the position that we are in today.
Yep.
So here's the golden question. Would you take 10 years of elite Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform and not have Super Bowl 52?
You know, Jimmy, I've been thinking about this since you brought it up a couple hours ago when we made this. I'm really not sure. I would love 10 years of elite Carson Wentz and all that, but at the same time, you got to think about that Super Bowl 52 victory. It was guaranteed. You won. It's yours. You've seen many elite quarterbacks go and have great seasons, and they're called elite quarterbacks, but not every elite quarterback wins a Super Bowl, you know? Not all that is guaranteed. I think a guaranteed Super Bowl 52 victory, I would take it. I would love, like I said, I love Wentz healthy for 10 years, but that defense and 52, you never know with the defense nowadays. The defense wasn't that good this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just half the battle. You can say Carson Wentz was the best quarterback, but if your defense isn't doing anything, you're not going to win a championship.
Yep.
So I think it's a kind of a two-sided question. So,
yeah. Here's the main issue that I have with that is, if he's playing at that same level in 2017, you're always in it. You always have a shot, especially in the putrid division that we are in over the last 3 years. You know, it was 9-7, 9-7, and then another. What was the Washington football team a record this year? 7-8-1.
Yeah,
So those were the
800. Or was it 500?
Those were the last three division winners. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, knowing the division that we're in. And if Carson's playing the way he played in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, you're already 3 years into the 10 years. And you're already guaranteed 3 division championships.
Yep.
And he just continues that all. And he's no question on the level of Russell Wilson. He's no question on the level of Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. He's on that level, that pedestal. So we have a lot of people commenting.
Wow.
We have a lot of people commenting on what this about this poll, and it is a very polarizing poll. It is, and I just wanted to have some fun with it. How you doing, Tom? Congratulations on the baby,
sir. Congrats.
Rock on, brother.
Oh,
I'm going to have to agree to the poll, Jake. I'm with you, Jake. You can't turn down just greatness at that level of quarterback, especially with the division. Pete says, I'm so split on this poll. Yep. Fluffy Bunny says Wentz for life. I'm with you. Wherever he goes, I'm going to be purchasing merchandise of his wherever he goes. I may be getting a Carson Wentz Colts t-shirt. I may be getting a Carson Wentz Bears jersey. Hell,
jeez, man.
Am I going to get the Carson Wentz Patriots jersey? I don't know.
Just put a ring on it already. Just put a ring on it. Oh my God.
Victoria comes in with a comment. Coming from a Wentz apologist, I disagree. I would trade my firstborn for that Super Bowl. Yep. It's a very
that's a really hard question. I keep thinking about it. It's such a hard question.
I don't know.
Because nothing's guaranteed. With Wentz's 10 years, nothing's guaranteed. There's been elite quarterbacks that, I mean, they're not called elite if they don't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well,
so unless you're Joe Flacco, you're not elite. So
Joe Ingles, the GOAT, putting up a 3. 46-45. 46-45. What the? We looked down and started talking about Carson Wentz, and it's just plaguing on to the Sixers.
That's so bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Carson Wentz Jets jersey. Hey, hey, the only jersey I will not be getting is if he turns into a Cowboy. Let's just say that. And I know he's not going to the Giants. I know that Cowboys are in on the odds of landing him. I don't know, but yeah, it's a tough question. We'll keep on talking about it. Let's move on to the just our general manager. He leaves me speechless sometimes. I don't understand how he still has his job. He's probably one of the worst GMs I've ever seen in like real life. Just his decision making over the past 3 years since that Super Bowl. This is what Howie Roseman reminds me of. He reminds me of that one guy in a fantasy football league who sucked in his first 3 years. It's a continuation of a fantasy football league. So it's a keeper league. You have the league for maybe 10 years. He sucked in the first 3. And then all of a sudden, he just makes all the right picks at all the right places in the 4th year of the draft. And he ends up drafting a team that's just absolutely unstoppable. And he ends up winning the fantasy football championship league.
Yep.
And when that happens, instead of keeping a guy like Derrick Henry for his team for the next year, he decides to choose a freaking Curtis Samuel because Curtis Samuel decided to just absolutely go off for him in 5 weeks. He goes with the Curtis Samuel because he thinks Curtis Samuel is just going to turn into freaking Tyreek Hill out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's who Howie Roseman is. And then once he picks Curtis Samuel, right, he continues on with his drafting, and then he just completely sucks for the next 3 years. That is exactly what Roseman did since he won that Super Bowl. And that is why I'm leaning more towards Carson Wentz being elite. Because if Carson Wentz is elite, I don't think Howie Roseman is here right now.
You really never know because him and Jeffrey Lurie are buddy, so you really never know. I'm not too pleased with how everything is going with that right now. I think it's so up in the air, and like I said last podcast, I hate when there's QB controversy, but when there is, you got to compete. You got to come out and take your place.
Yeah, dude,
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, agree with me, everybody.
No, look. This is what I got to say. That Super Bowl was the best day of my life. I'm 21 years young. I haven't really had many bright days. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I don't have any of that. So the Eagles Super Bowl, yes, it was the greatest day of my life. I still like the 2008 Phillies team just a little bit more, just because it was the first taste of championship I felt in my life. I loved Jay Utley. I loved Jimmy Rollins. I loved Cole Hamels. I loved Ryan. I loved Jason Worth. Sorry. I loved all of those guys. And I wish we would have won more with that team, but I just feel like that team was it was very likable. Tyrese Maxey, dude, he needs to start taking Furkan's minutes. I know Furkan is our shooter. He's our shooter off the bench. I'll go back to my Eagles point in a second. But I think you got to start putting this kid in the fire, especially since it's the regular season and it's a glorified preseason. I feel like the more he plays, the more he'll learn. And I will take that until the end of the season. I'm over the Furkan Korkmaz experiment. We'll talk about the Sixers a little bit later in the show. But it's just whenever we need a big shot, Furkan will not make that shot 9 times out of 10. And when you're the dead shot off the bench and you don't make the big shots that you need to, then what are you going to do? It's time for him to go. Going back to the Eagles point. Doug had the most predictable offense in the league when he started calling plays, and the offensive line was basically just traffic cones. Anyone watch Mahomes in the Super Bowl? That's what happens. Yep, that's exactly what we said last week. Mahomes, without the offensive line, looked like Carson Wentz. And his guys were getting the football thrown off their helmets. And it just looked like I was watching Carson Wentz throw to Nelson Aguilar. And that's just what I got to do.
That's not it. But yeah.
Tom, thank you for throwing up the YouTube fam. What's good with YouTube? If you're watching, please give us a like. We would love that, and we appreciate that. It is 50-48. in the second quarter, about 4 minutes in, and the Sixers are winning. They were off to a hot start. Ben Simmons was going off in the first quarter. I think he has 19 points right now, 21 points right now. But he went off in the first. Went off. So that's a little bit of the update right now. Right now we're talking about Eagles Super Bowl. Would you trade the Eagles Super Bowl for 10 years of elite Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform with the chance that Carson Wentz wins not only one but multiple? I'm taking Carson Wentz 10 years. And it's close, but I would rather take that than what the organization looks like right now.
I just think that's a complete like lottery. I feel like you can either have that set win of $10,000, or you have the opportunity to win $100,000, but their odds aren't in your favor.
How about this?
Just be running it back, and it's really hard. You know what I mean?
This is how I view our Super Bowl. If you give a man a fish, he won't be hungry for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll never go hungry again. That's how I feel about Super Bowl 52. They gave us a fish, and now we'll be starving for the rest of our life.
But we were starving all our lives. We were hungry dogs, man.
Yeah, and then somebody threw us a fish instead of teaching us.
Man,
right?
I just there's no guarantee in that 10 years that we'd win the Super Bowl. I'm not taking it. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I can't.
I would absolutely
too many trolls from Giants fans. Come on, man.
So you
all
want to
those
go
years, man? All those years.
So they're talking about trading both of them now. I don't even know what's going on with the local media.
And Hurts.
Yeah, there's people saying that we should trade Wentz and Hurts and then draft one of the quarterbacks. I don't understand why you want to run this guy out of town. They already did. The damage is already done. He's good as gone. But like I said before, like Tom has said in some of his shows, you can't trade a contract like that. I've been saying that for I don't even know how long. From the last podcast we were with. I've been saying that you cannot trade a contract like this. And they're basically they already ran this guy out of town. But there's nothing else you can do right now unless you give up first-round picks the way the Rams did. The Rams had to give up first-round picks to get rid of their $100 million quarterback. That's what we're gonna have to do. And at least
if we don't trade him, that's what we're gonna have to do. But if we traded him now, which is looking less likely each day, which we don't really know yet, but I feel like you'll take that salary hit, whatever, you'll take it. But then it's either that or you're giving up first-round picks the next couple years if he doesn't pan out this year. So that I know you're a gambling man, but I'm not. I can't do that.
So you're basically you put down $20 on a parlay, right? And you're like 2 hours into the parlay, and it's not really looking that good for you. But the payout is $25. So you made $5, right? You're gonna take that and might as well. You're not even just gonna try and go for the $200 winnings that you can get.
Man, I'll take anything. I'd rather not lose money.
Money comes back.
Not lose money.
Money comes back.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which Carson Wentz hasn't done. Carson Wentz hasn't earned no job.
Apparently, he did for them to pay him $130 million.
Yeah,
right?
But what happened after that? We pay Philly athletes and they disappear.
But is that his fault, or is that the media, or is it the front office, or is it
the fact that we paid Al Horford all that money and he just didn't fit in our system?
Don't say that name in our show.
Al Horford.
Don't say that name in our
Horford. And I had a battle with somebody in the comments like last week about it, and
I'd rather you say number 19's name.
Number 19, yep. Ortega Whiteside, baby. That's DK's dad right there.
How do you play? I'm gonna pretend like you did. How do you play 10 years of 2017 play and not win a Super Bowl? I'm taking my Super Bowl. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not a fanboy either, but I'd rather have an elite quarterback right now than what we have right now. That's my only point right now. Because who do we have right now? We have Jalen Hurts with no offensive line. We have Jalen Hurts with a puppy as his head coach. And you have a general manager that's not going to give him anything. At least if you have Carson Wentz playing elite, he's kind of like an Aaron Rodgers. And this is all hypothetical. I'm not comparing Carson Wentz to Aaron Rodgers right now. This is a hypothetical question before anybody comes in and with the with the just hop off of Carson right now.
These kids
You're
are
riding and
delusional.
waiting.
We've heard that one. These kids are delusional.
These kids are delusional. Okay.
God.
You could call us kids all you want. But it's fine.
Maybe Jimmy, but not me.
Okay.
It's
fine. Philly media is so toxic.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, the Philly media is very, very toxic.
You got players like Voracek who went off on Philly writers, and Voracek is one of the nicest guys I've ever met personally. But if he goes off on you, then you did something wrong, honestly. So
yeah, here's a couple of people from my side. I am taking Wentz. That Super Bowl was the best day for me as a fan, but I'm not turning my back on the guy who got us there. Also, I love Foles, but too many people think he's a lead over that win. I can't agree with you more, Fluffy Bunny. The fact that this organization was just a complete fucking shit show for decade upon decade upon decade until Andy Reid was hired, and we got into the dance a little bit. We got a little taste of NFC championship after NFC championship after NFC championship. But at the end of the day, he won one NFC championship, and then we ran into Spygate in the Super Bowl, which I still think we got robbed of.
Yeah.
But that is what it is. Donovan came up short. I was 5 years old when that happened, and that was my first vivid memory of watching a sports game, that Super Bowl. And I cried my eyes out when we lost that game. I cried. My cousin had to literally just rock me because I was just crying. I didn't know what else to do. That was the little bit of hope that we've had in our decade, except for 1980 when we played the Raiders. But the Raiders, from what I know, just rolled over us. It wasn't a 3-point game. So let me get back to my point. The franchise has been just a laughing stock. Like, we've won games, but we never won the game. And 2 years into this kid's career, he plays better than any other player in the league until a first down call on the goal line of LA when you have three monstrous backs. Now, who knows? Carson could have audibled out. I'm not blaming Doug for this, but you have your quarterback roll out on the 1 yard line when you have three running backs like that. Carson wants to make a play like he always does, right? And he, boom, snaps his ACL. Since that day, he's been looked at in just a completely different way, and I will never understand it. Because without Carson Wentz, we don't have our first Super Bowl. And whoever argues differently from that, I question your sports knowledge. I think you're an idiot. Because is Nick Foles going to carry us through the regular season? We all know what Nick Foles can do in the regular season besides the 27-2 he had with Chip Kelly.
Yep.
So this guy comes into your franchise, 23 years young at the time, 24 years young at the time, 2 years in, and he carries us to a Super Bowl. But he can't play in it, and he gets looked upon by the organization, by the local media, by the national media, by some players in the locker room. And those four things, with a little bit of him just playing like absolute dog shit in 2020, put all that in a blender, and this is where you are today. He's being run out of town.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand why.
He is being run out of town, which Philly just wants people, like, they don't look at it as they just want to win it. They just want to win. And then they saw Jalen Hurts, and then they were saying, oh, Jalen Hurts won. And they were more impressed with Jalen Hurts that whole year than Wentz. So I don't know. It's kind of spotty. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't get it. I don't understand the Carson Wentz hate. And let me just get this off my chest. I think there is. I said it a little bit last week. There is a silent majority in this town that really understand football, and they understand that Carson Wentz is the guy. But it's just hard to blank out the noise of the people that know how to talk.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that know how to talk on the radio, the guys that say this and this so that they get a little bit more of that, of fans agreeing with them, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're trying to say.
It's that goes into the local beat writers that have a little bit of locker room access that will hear, this is just hypotheticals, that'll hear Miles Sanders say something that, oh, Jalen Hurts is my quarterback, something along those lines. Maybe it wasn't really that. And then they'll make a story out of it.
Yeah.
And then players will talk in the locker room. Players will talk in the locker room saying, oh, Carson doesn't really want to be with us. How the fuck do you know that Carson doesn't want to be with us? What the fuck has Carson Wentz said since the last interview that he's had before he got benched? Has he said anything?
Nope.
No, it's his sources that are saying all this shit that he wants out. Until Carson Wentz comes out and says, I don't want to be a Philadelphia Eagle anymore, I'm taking my bets that he wants to stay with the Eagles. Yep. And I'm not jumping on the train that, oh, he just wants out. It's time to get rid of him. He's good as done. Yeah, he's out of here. No, he's not out of here. He's not out of here yet. He's not out of here until I see the breaking news from freaking Adam Schefter or Mort on Twitter saying Carson Wentz was traded. Because guess what? He was supposed to be traded the day after the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to that? I don't think the Bears even put in an offer. This Tariq Cohen and Nick Foles and the first-round pick for Carson, that never happened. That's bullshit.
Yeah. That's just trade machines. They're wow.
I'm hot.
It's just trade machines, dude. I feel like I agree with Sands' comment. Carson just has to go. It's too toxic. This is like a toxic relationship. It's like if you broke up with your girlfriend and then you got back together and you just keep breaking up and it, like, you know what I mean? But it's not. Wentz isn't saying anything, and I think the media is definitely taking everything out of proportion that literally any player says. Like if they comment something on an Instagram post just saying like good job, like great stuff today, they'll take out of proportion and say, oh, this guy wants Hurts to be the next QB1, and it's unfair.
I just saw this comment. 2018, Foles carried us too. It was 5-6 when he got in. Yeah, but who started the season that year, and who played like dog shit that year to start the season? That was Nick Foles, and that's why Carson Wentz was rushed back in, because Nick Foles was playing like absolute dog shit. So then we were 1-1 with Foles to start, and then Carson Wentz was rushed back in. Carson Wentz was 4-5. 8 months removed from the torn ACL, 9 months removed from the torn ACL, comes in, injures his back because everything's messed up. So I don't know what else you want to say. You're probably a really big Foles supporter. You could try and defend yourself right now, but I don't like to waste my time with people that still praise Nick Foles in this town. We all know what he did. He had 2 amazing, excellent games that I will forever be grateful for. In the NFC Championship game in 2018 and the Super Bowl in 2018.
Yep.
I will forever love Nick Foles for that. I no longer have to hear it from Giants fans that we don't have Super Bowls. I no longer have to hear it from Cowboys fans that we don't have Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
But this narrative that we should have kept Foles over Wentz, that's horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll forever stick with that.
He is the closing pitcher. I agree with the closing pitcher.
It's just, and people are saying, people see it. I'm telling you, the majority of this fan base, they're smart. They just, they don't feel like they don't blank it out the way I can't blank it, or they do blank it out the way that I can't blank it out. I can't blank out people that have obnoxious takes, because those takes just feed into the fuel of getting rid of our star players. It happened with Allen. It's happening with Wentz.
Yep.
It low-key happened with Donovan, but Donovan was on his way out. But it happened with Scott Roll. It happened with all these guys. It happened with all of these guys, where this is a very difficult place to play if you're a star. That's why Bryce Harper is – I just thought of Bryce Harper just from the jersey and your background. This is why Bryce Harper's perfect for here, because when he sucks, he'll admit it, and that's what we love.
Yeah,
and he'll always bounce back.
I think taking ownership is the biggest role you can do in Philly. If you fucked up, you gotta say you did, But you also can't be like Andy Reid, who blames just himself on everything. Like, just one guy doesn't take the whole team down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is currently 65-59, 2 minutes left. The Sixers are losing. As soon as we start talking about this bad Eagles juju, the Sixers just forget how to play basketball, I guess. What the hell was that, Danny?
I'm on ad right now, so I can't watch it.
Bro,
I don't want to see.
I'm telling you, before you hopped on, before the show started, it was maybe like 2 minutes into the first.
Mhm.
Ben had an absolute dime to Danny, like slashing into the paint, right?
Yeah.
Danny floats it up, nobody on him, complete air ball.
Oh, no.
10 feet away from the basket.
Oh, no.
It wasn't even Danny Brick. He wasn't building a house. He was like blowing up balloons, I guess, with all the air he was shooting.
How many points has Simmons scored since the end of the first? Do you know?
I will pull it up right now. Ben Simmons has 21 points right now. So
he has 2 points since last.
He has 2 points in the second quarter.
Okay. I know that he's not James Harden. I know he's not LeBron, but 2 points. 2 points, Jimmy?
He's also held Donovan Mitchell 3 for 10 shooting, and Donovan has 8 points.
Donovan will probably end up with 38 by the end of the night.
Ben Simmons also has 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 block.
I just want to see a full 4 quarters of Ben Simmons. That's all I want. Because you can score 19 points and then disappear the game. That's not helping. Some players been doing that. Some players do that. James Harden did that.
Mm-hmm.
He'll score like 30 in a game and then just disappear the rest of the night and play no defense.
Yeah.
So, players do that, but we need Ben. We need him.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get a little bit of review of the poll question today. I would take 10 years of elite Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform and not have a Super Bowl 52 victory. You got to look at it twice. You got to look at it 3 times. You got to look at this question and just think about it. It's a very tough question. People that are on the Wentz wagon, they're saying that they'd rather take the Super Bowl, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I'm the head of the Wentz wagon, so I can't get off. I got to say 10 years of elite Carson Wentz. It'd be like the ultimate betrayal. It'll be the Henry Hill.
Yep.
It'll be all of that if I were to say the Super Bowl. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are saying that
Who is this clown, bro?
There are a lot of people saying that Howie Roseman is definitely to blame. It's probably 98% of just smart fans just saying that, you know. But
wow.
And we are down by 9 points now. Oh my God, Ben.
Ben has a really hard, like he is not a good finisher around the rim sometimes. He'll have those layups that he just completely misses somehow. You're 6'10". Please dunk the ball. Please dunk.
Look. Oh, did you like the Goodfellas reference, Tim? I can't trade on my boy Wentz. I'm not a rat. I'm not a rat. 72-66 going into the half. That was
let's go into one of our would you rathers. I think we should spice it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, but it's 72-66. Sixers had a rough second quarter. Ben Simmons had 19 points in the first and 2 points in the second. Seth hit a little bit of a 3 at the
Slapped.
All right. We'll transition into the Sixers. We'll transition into a would you rather for the Sixers. And here's the question for the Sixers. Would you rather have Jimmy Butler come back instead of going back to the Heat and have a new head coach, and your roster would have probably been Ben, JJ Redick, Jimmy Butler, another 4, and then Joel Embiid? Or would you rather have the Sixers roster that we have right now? I'll let you go into that first.
We missed Jimmy Butler last year, or when we could have had him. I really don't know. Tobias Harris he's consistent, but sometimes he can really go on those games where he's inconsistent. I don't know necessarily that we would have won a championship if we have kept Jimmy Butler and didn't keep Tobias Harris. Yeah, he did lead the Heat, but I feel like there's just too many guys with the ball in Philly. Like he had to be his own guy and go with it. But I really don't know. What do you think?
I love Jimmy Butler. I really did love Jimmy Butler. Looking at the team that we have right now, you'd have to think I'm crazy to say that I'd rather have Jimmy Butler than this team right now. But people are wilding right now. But I think I'd take Jimmy Butler and a new head coach last year, just because the disappointment that we saw last year in the bubble, which really hurt. Joel Embiid got swept. The Sixers got swept. Brett Brown got swept. Mm-hmm. If you have Jimmy Butler in there when Ben went down in the bubble, who knows if Jimmy plays the way he played in Miami in the bubble. And we have a legitimate shot to, win it all with Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. And that may have been great for you, because if Jimmy Butler does take over the show that Ben Simmons is out, right? Mm. Ben Simmons is out. Jimmy Butler comes in, runs the point like he did 2 years ago with Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons may be on his way out, and Ben Simmons may not even be a Sixer anymore.
Yeah. I'm not really sure with that. Like Jimmy Butler throughout the season, he had those games where he wouldn't even average 10 points. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't average 10 points. He wasn't really as consistent as he would be in the playoffs. Like you said, I feel like he would have been more of your guy just because you don't really like the regular season. You don't think it matters, but he does show up in the playoffs as he did last year. Mm-hmm. So, that's a hard one. We got some weird comments in here, man. I'm just laughing looking at these. What's up, Levi?
Yeah. Levi, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all of our all the people watching tonight. We have a fun Would You Rather show going on right now. We have a fun live Sixers analysis. It is 72-66 at half. I'm sorry. Yeah, 72-66 at half. Ben Simmons went off to a fiery first quarter and then scored 2 points in the second. We'll see what happens in the second half. I don't think a lot of people expected us to win this game without Joel Embiid. Absolutely. We need a monstrous second half from Tobias and Ben to have a shot, in my opinion.
How many points do they have at the end of the half?
60. It's 72-66.
Okay.
And Ben had 21 of those points.
They had what, 42 in the first quarter? I feel like that was just the hot thing going on, but yes they did. Jimmy's shooting has been a consistent downtrend in the past years, but we don't need him to be a shooter because he would have been a primary ball handler. And if you still had JJ, look, you could say what you want about JJ. He's having a terrible year this year with New Orleans, but I don't think he fits in New Orleans. I think he fits perfectly in Philly with Joel Embiid. I think he fits perfectly in Philly with a Jimmy Butler, with a Ben Simmons. JJ Redick is perfect, and we need him off the bench. And I know a lot of people on A2D, they don't want JJ. I don't get that. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to upgrade from Furkan to JJ. It probably wouldn't cost you much, but JJ would be a veteran coming off the bench that we need for this playoff run coming up. Now, who would you want as your coach if you were to have Jimmy back? And
I said it before the show. Tom Thibodeau.
Tibbs, yeah.
Maybe a Tom Thibodeau, maybe a Sam Cassell even last year.
Tibbs is doing great with he's doing great with the Knicks, who plus has a decent young core and just hasn't done anything with it. So plus Jimmy Butler and Tibbs have
that connection from Chicago, where Jimmy Butler really made his name known in Chicago.
Mhm.
So you put a combination of that, and you have the monumental collapse in the East with the Bucks once again. And I'll always say this: the Bucks are never going to win. The
Mhm.
Bucks are never going to win.
They're a regular season team, and
You depend too much on Giannis, and the only thing you need to do is shut down Giannis, and their shooters are not going to be on every single night.
no. Yep.
And I've said that for 2 years now, that the Bucks are never going to win. Now the Sixers, on the other hand, you need 2 stars to win a championship. You do.
Yep.
Scotty and
We have only one right now.
Look,
so that's the issue.
Magic and Kareem, MJ and Pippen.
Yep.
Shaq and Kobe, Shaq and Wade, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, and Kawhi.
Yep.
You need at least 2 stars to win in this league.
Mm-hmm. And you need consistent role players who can hit the 3 ball. Because I think we've really been struggling with that. That's the reason why we haven't won.
But those consistent role players come and go season to season.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that what if Ben actually doesn't work out and you had Jimmy and you had Joe last year? That could have been the beginning of something, because Bam can do whatever he wants. Bam Adebayo, I don't think he's all that. I think he gets eaten up by other bigs in the league, whether it's Jokic, Embiid, Gobert. He's just that's besides the case. If you had Jimmy Butler, if you had Benson, if you had Joel Embiid playing last year, who knows what could have happened?
Yep.
So that's a strong would you rather.
Yeah.
Jordan goes in with what about Dirk did it himself? LOL. That's very Dirk that year it was LeBron's first year in Miami. Dirk did do it by himself. He did have a significant amount of role players coming off the bench that just showed up for him. But yeah, there's always going to be an anomaly. But you have LeBron and AD. You have LeBron and Kyrie. You have Steph, Clay, Draymond, if you want to call Draymond a star. Did you know Draymond Green's overall rating in 2K21 is a 78 right now?
That's way too low.
70? No, that's right where it's supposed to be. Man. He's been overrated his whole career.
He's a great defender, Jimmy.
You're a Draymond Green. You're calling Draymond. Whoa, you're a Draymond Green apologist, but you don't like your own guy in this town because
I think he's a great defender. He can shoot a 3 better than Simmons. That's all I know. Doesn't Draymond have a defense?
You just had to go in with that dagger, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Every time, dude. It'll be every time. He's part of the Splash Brothers. We don't have any Splash Brothers on our team. We have the Splash Brothers brother, but that's all we have. Then we have Danny Brickmaker. Buyouts. Yeah. I wouldn't be too surprised if they have a few additions, but I don't think they'll go crazy with the roster they have now. Like players like Isaiah Joe. It really sucks to see them not play. Which Isaiah Joe did have he was shooting pretty good from 3. He wasn't a bad shooter. I think he is not just as good as Danny Green, but when Danny Green's off, he's like
Green's always off.
The 12th guy coming off the bench. He's no better than that.
Besides the Sacramento game this year, where he had that just egregious, bitch out session because he didn't get the call on the 3-point, which wasn't a foul, and then he got mad, made 2 straight threes, and then an and 1. That's all I've seen of Danny Bricks this year. We need, and look, he fits perfectly with the starting lineup. I know they've only lost 1 game together, the starting 5. I still think that they need either Green or Seth to come off the bench. They need to have one more guy come in here and start for Green.
I really think it's going to be Seth, if anybody, because you have Thibault coming off the bench, and you'd have Thibault and Green coming off the bench. Green, if he's having a bad night, inconsistent. Him and Thibault, they're building schools with all the bricks they've been shooting. But if you bring out someone like Seth, who's very consistent sometimes, I think that would be a killer coming to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if you had that guy like JJ Redick. Like JJ Redick. If you
I don't understand the JJ Redick hate.
I don't know if he would be a starter. I honestly don't know. Maybe with the roster we have, but he's kind of like Seth, but playing on a lower level. Both defensive liabilities, in my opinion, because they're both so small. So I really think they're kind of like the same player.
I would take JJ in the starting lineup over Danny Green 10 times out of 10. And I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for that, but that's just he fits better with Ben and he fits better with Jeff.
I just don't think that Curry and JJ Redick, that defense would Danny Green serves a lot of purpose on the defensive end, I think, more than people actually know. He's not a bad defender at all. He's definitely a better defender than Curry and Redick. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't put him over Green. Because who would you play? Would you play him at the small forward spot?
Who, JJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, that if JJ were to come in, the only way he'd be starting is if he were to take Seth's spot. Because Seth doesn't really play defense either.
Yeah. They're like the same, like I said, they're like the same player. And it's
like we get on JJ Redick for not playing any defense, but I feel like Seth is just the same.
I mean, he's way faster than JJ, rightfully so, because he's like 4 years younger, but there's not much you can do. Like I don't think you can put JJ Redick in for Green. Green is 6'6", and he plays pretty good defense. Like you can't add another guy who's 6'3", 6'2", because they'd both be defensive liabilities.
All this talking about Draymond Green's got me thinking. I'm gonna look up his contract for a quick second. Draymond Green would fit with this team.
He would.
It would come with the money. I don't know the money situation, but that actually got me thinking.
Now you used to be a hater. Now you're a lover, man.
Never mind. We're not paying him.
How much is he making? 17?
In 2023, he will be making $27 million, and that will be the last year of his contract. He's making
nasty.
He's making 24 this year at age 31, 25 million next year, and then 27 million in 2023-2024 season, in which he will be 33 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know if we have that money. Like, who would you trade? You'd have to trade Tobias, and I don't want to trade Tobias.
You can't.
But Draymond would fit perfectly. That sucks.
Yeah. He would. But, I don't think it would happen.
JJ would be an expensive 8-piece off the bench. No thanks. Well, if you trade Furkan, if you trade Ferguson, and you trade Mike Scott, what are those three going to do? Ferguson and Scott don't really play, with the exception of tonight. Scott started, but Scott's not going to be starting come playoff time.
Absolutely not.
So you're essentially trading Furkan, who has proven to you that he can't make a big shot, and then for JJ, who has proven to you that he works well with Ben and he works well with JoJo, that can make a shot. Yep. He can make multiple shots. Whenever you need a big shot from Furkan Korkmaz, he won't show up. You need an upgrade from Furkan Korkmaz being the best shooter coming off the bench. So what is everybody's bright ideas?
I don't know, Jimmy. There's not much to do. There's not players on the market. If they're shooting well, they're not being sold unless they're on a really, really bad team. So I feel like not a lot's going to happen with this buyout or the trade deadline. I just don't see anything happening, especially since they've only had one loss. So
Lauri Markkanen from Bulls on the cheap is a good ad for this team. I don't know what it would cost to get Markkanen because Bulls are in love with Markkanen and Levine, and they've never won anything. So, and in a putrid East, it's not that hard to get an A seed in the East, and the Bulls have not won anything. Markkanen contract. Let's see what he is making.
I think he's not still on rookie deal, is he?
He signed a 4-year, $20 million contract with the Bulls, including $20 million guaranteed. So his annual is $5 million right now. So would you trade Markkanen for Furkan and maybe a pick? I would.
For a second round pick?
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that, honestly. I really don't know. He's been Markkinen's been struggling. He struggled last year and he struggled this year. His rookie year was his only standout year. I'm not too sure if he would even have a role. I feel like he'd just be on that same Mike Scott role. If he doesn't prove consistency right away, I think he'd be on that Mike Scott role and not really have that many minutes, if any.
Mm-hmm. Second half just started.
Oh, here goes Ben. Here goes Ben.
What do you mean, where goes Ben?
No, he's at the free throw line.
Yeah. We got a couple of people throwing out names over JJ. I see
Elon Wright.
First of all, I've wanted Klay Thompson to be a Sixer for the longest time.
Yeah.
It never happened. He wanted to stay in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what it is. Jeremiah goes with Caruso over Seth and Redick. I don't want Caruso. I don't. I just feel like he's way too inconsistent, and I don't think he'd fit with this team.
Caruso,
the Caruso, baby.
Is that? I don't know if that was a joke or not. I really don't know. Delon Wright, I said it before the podcast started. I really like his game so far, but I'm not really sure. Have like that. Who did we trade Markelle Fultz for? Who was it?
Jonathan Simmons.
Jonathan
Who I liked, and they just never played.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a role that Wright would be at. Like maybe George Hill would have that veteran's presence, and that's why you would get more of the playoff time. And he's been in the playoffs for years, so
George Hill would be a great backup point guard, but I don't think you necessarily need a backup point guard like that. I think Ben's going to be playing at least 40 to 42 minutes come playoff time. So that 6 minutes that he's off the court, you could have a guy like Shake Milton, because I trust Shake. I trust Shake as a backup point guard. He showed me a little bit during this West Coast trip that he could find people and he could score. Mm-hmm. He's a legitimate 6th Man of the Year candidate this year, and he can facilitate and score. I don't understand why we would need a guy like George Hill. I just feel like he'd be taking up a lot of money and a lot of room on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Delon Wright, on the other hand, I'd take Delon Wright. I don't. He could shoot. I don't know if he's a lights out shooter the way JJ was 2 years ago. And look, it's very easy to criticize JJ with the way he's been playing this year. But like I said, I don't think he's a fit in New Orleans. I think he would fit perfectly well back here. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. Let me look at Delon Wright's contract. But
he's only getting a 1.5 mil.
Delon Wright?
Yeah. I think he's 28, so
Delon Wright signed a 3-year, $28 million contract with Memphis.
Yeah, and then he
got sent to the Pistons.
So he's what, on one? Is he on his last year?
2 years left.
2 years left. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a $9 million cap hit. What's JJ at?
I think he might be the same. Honestly.
Yeah. So I don't know. Delon Wright. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, 13.2.
But I still think JJ would. I'd still take JJ. It's just the chemistry.
Like the chemistry.
The chemistry he has with Joe and the way he'll keep Joe in place. Because Joe needs a little bit of chirping in his ear when he's acting a little bit out. And JJ was that perfect voice for him. And Joe has even said it.
Mm-hmm.
Could use CP3. He's not leaving Phoenix. Is he leaving Phoenix?
He just got there. He just got there.
Okay. Won't happen. Just saying. I got you.
Yeah. He would be a great addition on the team. That would probably, I don't know if they do a Simmons in that case though. But that wouldn't happen.
Thanks, Don. We really do appreciate that.
Appreciate it, man.
We may not look like we know what we're talking about, it may not sound like we know what we're talking about, but I promise you, we have information in our mind. It's just sometimes it just doesn't come out the way it's supposed to, especially with some of the distractions. Tobias with the brick, that ain't nothing new. I've dug into Tobias because I really thought it was between Tobias and Jimmy, and this is just it's just an ongoing circle of why didn't we sign Jimmy? And I know why we didn't sign Jimmy. It's because
of Brett Brown.
Because of Brett Brown. Brett Brown was afraid of Jimmy Butler, so then we ended up getting stuck with Tobias, the friendly ghost. But
wow,
what is happening right now? 78-69. Come
this
on, man.
Over, man. This game's over. I don't even want to watch anymore. This is ridiculous.
Are we at the same time? I just want to make sure we're at the same time.
I'm at third quarter, 9:13.
Yeah, we are. I just wanted to make sure we're at the same time. So that.
Yeah.
But
a little bit earlier, I was like 5 minutes behind at one point. Wow. Thank you.
Would you guys like someone like Gary Harris? I'm a Nuggets fan, and he could shoot and has great defense.
I think Gary Harris having an off year this year. I'm not really sure. I don't watch the Nuggets too much, but Gary Harris, he's not a bad player. He's a mellow.
Jordan, I would take him. I would take him. Again, it depends on the contract. I would take him, and I would put him in either Curry or Green spot, and then you have a scorer and a defender coming off the bench, whether it's Seth being the scorer or whether it is Danny Green being the defender. And Danny Green can hit a shot every once in a while. I haven't seen it.
A year?
Who? Gary?
Yeah.
Furkan will have to be involved in that.
He's not a bad player. I feel like that's just what the Sixers need. They need defending and a consistent 3-point shot, just like any other team needs. But I honestly don't see like the Nuggets getting rid of him. Even if he is having an off year, I just don't see it. Bring back Foles and bring back. I wish it was that easy.
Bro,
I wish it was that easy.
I need to know if this is a troll or if this is for real.
Yeah.
It's definitely a troll. But if it's not a troll, I just want to know, just so I can roast. Because if it's not a troll, I'm ready to roast. Let's go back to the Sixers. I can't talk Eagles anymore. Maybe later. Jordan, did you like AI? Did you like AI when he went to AI? Because that was a scary team. It was AI, J.R. Smith, Carmelo, Kenyon, and Nene or Marcus Camby. It was Marcus Camby, and Nene came off the bench. But that was a solid team.
Yeah, it was.
And again, all right, let me go back to the Eagles because Jordan, you bring up an interesting point about the Nuggets. We got rid of AI, right? Because he wanted out. It was whether it was the media, whether it was just his time to go. He wanted out, so we let him out, and then he had an MVP season. Is that going to happen with Wentz?
We never know.
I know.
We never know, Jimmy.
I know.
You know?
I know. I know.
I don't know, man. I really don't.
I know. I know. When Wentz gets traded, whether it's to the Colts, whether it's to the Patriots, whether it's to freaking Texans, I don't know. I don't know who it will be, but whether it's any of those teams, he is going to have a breakout season next year, and he's going to be comeback player of the year. So that's just what I think. Chris Anderson, Birdman was on that team. I forgot. Yeah. Birdman in that rotation with the Heat, when it was LeBron, Mike Miller, Norris Cole, and Birdman, and then somebody else. Bro, LeBron in Miami is one of my favorite athletes of all time. I got to get that off my chest right now. I hate him now. I freaking hate that he went to LA, but
it's whatever.
Yeah. It really was the good old days of the NBA. It really was. I have a would you rather. 76ers related. You draft Paul Pierce or Dirk to pair with AI instead of Larry Hughes in '98. The Sixers win a title or two, but you miss out on the whole process. Look, I'm going to be real with you. I would have loved for that to happen, but if that were to happen, I would have never remembered the wins.
I think that's the biggest thing too. Yeah,
I was born in '99.
Yep.
So what he's saying is you have AI with either Paul Pierce or Dirk, or you have Ben Simmons with Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Dirk and AI were to stay together for the 10 years that they played, we would have remembered them in 2009-ish, 2010, if they're still together at that time.
Yep.
And we win a couple of rings.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. That's a hard question. Like, for the sake of Philadelphia, I would say, yeah, I'd rather win those titles because I would just be contradicting what I said earlier. But I wasn't old enough to like even know what basketball was. Like, I didn't really understand any of it. But like, just looking back, it would have been awesome to like look at. But other than that, like, I'd rather win a championship, like have a good chance to win the championship now. Like, I'm contradicting myself from like the Wentz statement, but like I said, nothing's guaranteed. So we would win the chips, but I'd want to see him myself. Like, I'd want to know and see him myself. You're right. I'd rather win one Super Bowl in my lifetime than have 4 Super Bowls before I was even alive. In my opinion, I really do.
Another question is, does this mean we get Luka? Because if we draft Dirk and then Dirk's on his way out and then Luka comes in, maybe I'll take that. I love Luka.
Yeah.
I love me some Luka.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people were trolling in the comments that we were doing some extracurricular stuff with some players, but I love Luka.
Yeah.
But
wow. Yeah, Sixers are down by 9 right now.
I don't know what happened. I mean, the same thing that happened last Saturday, I guess.
Yeah.
You got.
I'm not going to take them. No, I'm not going to take too much away from them. They're playing past their bedtimes, so
Jesus Christ.
At the end of the day, here comes Fergie. I think he'll shoot 2 threes in a row. Totally outplay Danny Brickermaker.
I just want to look at Donovan's stats real quick. Donovan is 6 for 15, 1 for 5 from the 3, 16 points, 2 turnovers, +1. Ben Simmons is 26 points, 8 for 9 from the free throw line, 9 for 14 from the field, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Look, wow, Furkan just played some defense. You know who would have been a great fit to this team?
Who?
Bogdanovich.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the one that went to the Atlanta, right? Or are you talking about the one from the Jazz?
The one from the Jazz. Because he signed with the Jazz last year, or 2 years ago.
Yep.
That would have been a great sign. They should have went all in on that, but they didn't. So
there's also like some talk about trading for who was it? Norman Blacheka or whatever his name is. The guy we were supposed to get a few years ago, but he wanted more money. So it was kind of fun. Remember that when he was saying he was going to be a Sixer, and then somebody offered him like a contract the last minute. He pulled out of the Sixers deal, and then he went to the Kings. So
yeah, Don, Lions fan, what's up? They're an interesting team right now. You just got a bunch of first-round picks and Jared Goff. That's what we're going to have to do to get rid of Wentz, which I'm not all for.
I think that was an absolute W for the Lions.
Definitely
getting a younger quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Younger quarterback, and he's not bad. He's a system quarterback at the end.
Yeah,
and he didn't always have the best wide receivers. Let's be honest now.
Who?
Jared Goff.
I take Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp over Nelson Aguilar and Jalen Reagor. I take Cooper Kupp. I take those two guys over any receiver that we've had since Carson Wentz got drafted.
They just need younger. Like the Lions, they're an upcoming team, but I don't think they're not going to win a championship the next 5 years. They're going to be in a process. They're just going to dump it. I don't think they'll sign Kenny Galladay. I don't think it's becoming a Detroit Lions talk.
Rams are so desperate to dump off golf. That's what we're doing to Wentz right now. And I'm scared that we're either A, going to get a 5th-round pick for Wentz, which I would not do. Why would you even do that? And I'm scared how he would do that. Just for the sake of, we need to get rid of him because he's
not going to do
he's dead to us now. I wouldn't put it past Howie. I would not put it past Howie. Or B, we're on the wrong side of the Matt Stafford trade. We're on the wrong side of the Matt Stafford trade. We end up giving picks and Carson Wentz to the Colts.
That's a risk they have to like know about before, which I don't know. Would you take a 2nd round now? Like, because we were talking 2 first-rounders 2 weeks ago, and now we're talking 2nd rounders. Like,
Evan, I'm telling you, none of this happened. It's just people looking for other people to read their articles. I said it earlier in the show. Carson Wentz has not said a damn thing since he got benched. He never says anything he never says anything unless he absolutely is obligated to.
Mm-hmm.
He's still saying stuff about his AO1 foundation. He's still saying stuff about hunting.
Mm-hmm.
He's still posting pictures of his baby. I don't know, and his dogs. But when he doesn't have to
he definitely hears about it. Definitely hears about it. Most definitely hears about it, but he just doesn't comment on it.
I don't know. I don't know if he does.
He just turns off his. I don't think he just turns off Wi-Fi.
He doesn't turn off his comments. His comments are up there. Yeah. I saw something hilarious the other day. I was just scrolling through his Instagram, like I do, like maybe once a week. No, I'm just kidding. I was scrolling through his Instagram, and there was this one comment from his Thanksgiving picture or whatever. It was like, "This man don't give a fuck. He just keeps those comments on."
Yeah,
dude.
I think it's so bad when Philly fans. I think all fans do this in general. They'll go and comment like, "Dude, you fucking suck," or something, like saying like, "Get out of here, get the hell out of here," on like their like a picture of their kids. Like, I think that's the most disrespectful thing you can do.
Yeah. Wentz Ertz 5th rounder for a 3rd is best. Can he stop?
I hate that. I would hate that.
It won't happen.
I feel like
it'll happen.
They're gonna keep. I don't know if they'll necessarily keep Ertz if Wentz stays, but if they don't get a good enough deal, I think Wentz is gonna stay. And Ertz, I heard talks with the Colts. I don't really get the Colts because they do have Mo Alley Cox, and they do still have what's his face, Philly special.
Well, you even see that the people that put out these reports to begin with, they're starting to backtrack, saying this was Howie playing his cards too much, which is very well possible. But then a day later, they say, "Oh, now they're talking about Zach Ertz. Oh, now they're talking about Andre Dillard." They're just throwing our whole roster out there, and it's local media. It's local media that feeds into the national media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just such a cancer to the team that we drive out these superstars, and I'm frightened that we're going to do it to either Joe or Ben this year if they don't win the chip. I'm frightened that Ben may not be here if we don't make it to the chip or if we don't win the chip.
I said I agree. Like I don't think he's going to be here. He's not.
If we don't win it,
how good he does, we've put the players around him.
Carson or Ben? Ben.
I'm talking about Ben.
If we don't win the chip, he's out.
I think he's out. I think
God.
Yeah. Not saying necessarily I want him out, but Daryl Morey does. Daryl Morey's not going to. Huh?
You want him out. You want him out right now. I bet you'd rather want.
I do. No, I'm just kidding. I do. I want him the hell out of here, Jimmy. I want him out. Bradley Beal. Give me Bradley Beal, who had how many points again tonight? I know it's definitely better than.
What's his record?
It don't even matter, man.
What's his record?
Doesn't matter.
He had 7 wins.
It doesn't matter. I know you're trying to bait me into saying, "Oh, he doesn't have the people around him." Then you'll say something about Wentz. I'm not going. I'm not getting into that. No.
What is Bradley Beal's record?
Bradley Beal.
He has 7 wins. Bradley Beal has 7 wins.
They won today against the Rockets.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they won today. So they're 8-17. And Bradley Beal has Russell Westbrook next to him.
Yep.
And who's their center? Never mind. I thought they had somebody else. Thomas Bryant is their center.
Yep. They have Burns.
I wanna dive deep into this comment real quick
They have
about Wentz. You did not just say Raul Nato.
Dude,
Bro, Jordan Clarkson can fucking shoot the ball.
he can. Oh.
And Furkan Korkmaz cannot. Did you just see that exchange? Did you just see that exchange?
Dude,
we need a big shot. We're down by 12. Furkan misses it.
Jimmy, it's regular season. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's regular season.
A 1-3 road trip out west is going to hurt the psyche. And it's just frustrating when you watch games.
No, it's not.
Dude.
No, it's not. Because when you get into it, you're not going to be going, oh, my God. You're not going to be traveling to the West Coast. It's all on the East Coast. It's like you're not going to be playing at, 10 o'clock at night every night? Like, that's just not going to happen.
Bro, Jordan Clarkson is not missing.
Do you know our percentage from three right now? I honestly don't think it's
not well
good at all.
It is.
Our defense isn't that good right now.
4 for 10 from 3 right now. They're just not shooting. Seth Curry is 1 for 4.
Wow.
Korkmaz is 0 for 1.
What was that? What the hell was that, Ben Simmons?
All right, let me go to this Wentz comment real quick. I'll take a second for Wentz because this draft is loaded. Plus, Wentz is not a leader on the field or locker room. My question to you is, are you on the team and are you in the locker room? That's my only question. I'm not. I'll throw it out there right now. But you don't know that. You don't know if he. Who do you hear that from? Do you hear it from Mike Florio? Do you hear it from Max Kellerman? Do you hear it from those guys that he's not a good leader on the field or in the locker room? It's just all this Wentz propaganda bullshit is getting old. It's getting old.
And
I'm not taking him for a second round. I'm taking him for a first and a starter. I'm taking him for a first round pick and a Roquan Smith. I'm taking him for a Russell Wilson. I'm taking him for a Deshaun Watson. That's who I'm trading Carson Wentz for if I absolutely have to. Because I know that 3 years ago, he was voted by his colleagues that he was the best quarterback in the league. He was voted by his colleagues, a top 3 player in the league.
So much happened, though, between where we are now.
You know what happened? They didn't put competency around him. They didn't put competency around him.
He got hurt.
What happens? What happens when competency isn't put around you? You scored 9 points in the Super Bowl. That's what happens when competency isn't put around you. And that's a shot at Mahomes. He doesn't have his left tackle and his right tackle. And his receivers are getting footballs thrown off their helmet. That's what happens when competency isn't around you. And that's what happened to Wentz over the last 3 years. And he drug you in 18 and 19. He absolutely drug you in 19. And then 2020, something had to give. And that's what happened this year. He's not a magician. He's not Patrick Mahomes times Tom Brady combined into one. He's not that. He's Carson freaking Wentz. And I'm always going to go back to this past Super Bowl saying a quarterback needs competency to be elite. And Carson Wentz has not been given any competency. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much for that.
Wow.
Yet the media has and media created these narratives. Thank you so much, Jeremiah.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate that. It's the media creating propaganda. That's all it is. That's all this is. And I just said it about Mahomes. When you don't have competency around you, you don't win. And that's just shown this past Super Bowl.
Thank you again for that. That's awesome.
Carson Wentz is worth the first round pick. Yep. He's worth more than a first round pick, Jordan. I don't know if you agree with me. If we get Russell Wilson the day the alert comes on my phone, I'm getting his jersey. So am I, Jordan. So am I. Look, as much as I love Carson, if we were to get Russell Wilson, I'd get Russell Wilson's jersey. And I'd get a Carson Wentz Seahawks jersey.
I don't see that trade ever happening. Maybe, actually.
Dude, there's a quarterback carousel. It happened last year, and I think that what happened last year is just going to continue to grow this year, and it's going to keep on continuing to grow 2 years from now. It's just it may always happen.
Because like I was thinking, like if we did bring him in on the off chance, how many years do you think he actually has left, Wilson?
I think he has a good
with working legs.
At least 6 years.
6?
At least, yeah. At least. You think less?
I don't know.
How old is he? 32?
I don't know about 6, man. With legs, like with burners.
The way he played, because he's a he protects himself, dude. He knows how to protect himself.
I was gonna say he can probably serve as a mentor for Hurts. 32, man.
You know what else I don't understand? I don't understand if you thought that Jalen Hurts was the next Russell Wilson, why didn't you just trade Wentz right when you drafted Hurts? Why wouldn't you trade Wentz?
Because he got hurt.
And I'm not for this at all. I'm not for this at all. But you want to trade him now, and he's off of the worst season a quarterback ever did. So that because he got hurt bullshit won't fly. Because he just had the worst season of any quarterback in NFL history, statistically. And you want to trade him now for a first-round pick. If you thought that Jalen Hurts was the next Russell Wilson, why didn't you trade Wentz draft night of last year? And then bring in a veteran quarterback to start and have Jalen Hurts be his understudy. Maybe bring in a Tyrod Taylor. Why wouldn't you do that?
I wouldn't trade for Wilson. I'm gonna say I wouldn't.
This is just a conversation.
Yeah, I know, but I wouldn't. Because at the end of the day, we've seen bright spots from Jalen Hurts, and I know you hate when I bring it up.
We don't have a Russell Wilson type on our team. We have a Jalen Hurts on our team. Jalen Hurts cannot throw the football. Russell Wilson can throw the football.
You were eating your words when we played the Saints. You were eating your words.
I wasn't eating my words. I told you exactly what was going to happen. There was no film on him, right? There was no film on a running first quarterback. And when there's no film on a running first quarterback that has a God-given talent of athleticism, he's going to flourish until there is film on him. And guess what happened? He got figured out by the worst defense in NFL freaking history in the Cowboys. He got figured out. And you could say that he put up 350 yards all you want. You know what I look at? I look at the scoreboard at the end of the game. And the scoreboard said that Jalen Hurts scored 3 points in the second, third, and fourth quarter combined against the worst defense in NFL history. That is not Russell Wilson.
You got to look at it like this. Russell Wilson has DK, he has Lockett and all that. But, dude, I honestly think Hurts can make an impact. I don't know about more of an impact than Wentz would. But I'm just saying you shouldn't completely give up on Hurts. Like, I don't get why. Like, if we trade Wentz, are you going to be so much against, like, Hurts? Are you going to be like, you're, like, praying for his downfall, I feel.
I'm not praying for his downfall. I'm being realistic. I'm being realistic in the fact that you signed a guy for $130 million, and he was playing
who proved that he was injury prone for those few years. Now
we're going back to the injury prone point, Evan.
That's why he was drafted, Jimmy. That's exactly. They're saying literally the game where we played the Seahawks. They're saying we can't have this happen again.
So
Winston hasn't won a playoff game. And his whole few seasons he's been with the team. He's had nagging injuries, and then he had a cheap shot. But if you had Hurts in that situation to come in and play, we would have won that game. But we relied on a 40-year-old guy who had a torn ligament in his leg. Like that's the reason why we brought in Hurts.
Do you want me to go off on the injury-prone bullshit that you're saying about?
We got 6 minutes left, so go ahead,
dude.
I told you it was nagging injuries and cheap shots that made Carson. It's just that I don't even necessarily think I'm going to say he was really, really injury-prone. I'm saying that he just was the most unlucky quarterback as far as injuries went. Literally like Teddy Bridgewater.
He blew up his knee in 2017.
Yep.
Maybe he shouldn't have ran into somebody's helmet and then got uppercutted by another dude in the back. I don't know how you could prevent that. Maybe he shouldn't have been rushed back when your backup quarterback was playing like garbage in the first 2 weeks. Maybe they shouldn't have rushed him back. And that's what caused the back injury.
Yep.
And then once all of that was figured out and there was an outcry in the media saying, oh, we should have kept Nick Foles. Nick Foles is the guy, not Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Carson said, F that. I'm putting this team on my back with Nelson Aguilar as my receiver, with Deontay Burnett as my wide receiver, as Charles Davies as my receiver, whatever the hell his name is, with Greg Ward as my receiver. F that. I'm going to put these guys on my back. And Carson Wentz very well could have gone at least 11-5 in 2019 because they went 9-7. There were drops, just drop after drop in key moments of the game that could have led to a win. Nelson Aguilar against the Patriots. Nelson Aguilar against the Falcons. Number 19 against the freaking Lions. Dallas Goedert against the Lions. And I'm sure there's many more. So he could have easily been 12-4 as opposed to 9-7. And if he's 12-4, he's MVP of the league in 2019. But incompetency was around him.
Yep. I just feel like it's so much reliant on your defense at the end of the day. You can talk about the quarterback all you want, but if your defense is trash and you don't even make the playoffs or you barely make the playoffs and get out of the first round, you're never going to be mentioned for MVP. There's no doubt about it because most MVPs have either won the championship or made the AFC or NFC championship. It's been a while since a quarterback hasn't been a first-round exit and won MVP. I don't know.
Can you answer that? Why do you not like Hurts? He's had 4 games and was in the same situation as Carson, and everyone makes excuses for Carson. No, not what? I make excuses for Carson. Not everybody else does. So why can you give Hurts the same excuses, but you can't give Carson those excuses?
I did.
When you're already committed. Not you. I'm talking about no.
I know.
You like barbecue sauce or honey mustard or ranch, hot sauce? I like sweet and sour sauce. But if I'm gonna give Hurts the same amount of leeway that I gave Carson, which look, I will. His roster sucked the same way Carson's roster sucked. But if you actually watch those games in depth, the way I watched them, 3 times over, because I watched every game 2 to 3 times over just to watch the film, just to see what exactly happened in this putrid season. And I wanted to poke my eyeballs out. But if you actually looked and saw, Doug Peterson constructed game plans for Jalen Hurts. We were crying for Doug Peterson to move the pocket for Carson. And he just wasn't. Whether that was Carson killing out of the play and he was actually making himself do 7-foot drops with no offensive line, which I think Carson is a much smarter football player than to put himself in that situation. So I don't think Carson was audibling into those plays. I could be wrong, but I'm not on the field. That's up to Carson and Jason Kelsey to decide whether it happened or not. But you can see that there was clearly a shift in play calling and players playing for Jalen Hurts and coaches coaching for Jalen Hurts. They were moving the pocket. There was a lot of misdirection. So I don't know. He's had a higher ceiling so far. I'm down on Hurts. I'm not down on Hurts, but how can you be sold? We haven't seen enough. Look, I love Jalen Hurts. I don't like him as an Eagle. Him being drafted, which is not his fault, set us back years. Because Carson Wentz proved that he was the guy in 2019. I've had many concussions. I play rugby. I play football. I've had concussions. I've come back from concussions. And so people saying that the concussion didn't last, that's bogus. That's bogus. We're going to wrap up tonight with just a thank you for the Would You Rather. I know there wasn't a lot, but there was a lot of heat in the Eagles discussion and the Sixers discussion. Sixers right now are 106-94. Hopefully they can pull this off. Maybe Ben will carry in the fourth quarter. Who knows? But thank you guys so much.
Sleeping.
We didn't even get to talk about Kendall Jenner.
We'll talk about her next week. We lose against Blake Griffin. All right.
Thank you guys.
Peace out.